A good friend of mine once told me that in Uganda you are serious alone. Well, I didn't mean to, uh, I didn't think that statement was serious, but I still believed in at least a lining or a silver lining in that cloud that was dark. Now, fellow countrymen and young people in the country, as you have seen, the elders that have led us from 1986 through up to now, you have seen that they naturally, by divine nature, they are phasing out. They are aged and they are being overwhelmed by the amount of resources, amount of tasks and responsibilities that is supposed to be done in order to build a country. As a result, we have seen also a few young people that are coming up and starting to take up things like the economy, things like businesses, things like politics, and running into political competitions and elective seats. But let us have a honest conversation. As the evenings come to these old generations of our leaders today, how prepared are we as the young people to be able to take up the mantle from them? That's a question I pose to you. 2, how prepared are we to understand that our economy deserves an overhaul in how to boost it, or in how to totally do an overhaul in changing the economic patterns of our country? We have seen a lot of resources go into few hands and a few individuals at the expense of the majority of the 49 million Ugandans. What are we doing to be able to prepare as the young group of people to take up the leadership mantle, to take up the economy mantle, to take up the social and civic space mantle, to take up the leadership in our respective areas? What are we doing to do? What are we waiting to do that? Now, as you ask yourself that question, I know we have been reduced to a state of just thinking, if I'm able to get some little money, take care of my family, take care of my children, take them to school, take them to have a peaceful life, and then I can build a house at home or in town, and then I'm not paying any rent and things like that, life is okay. If you're there thinking like that, let me wake you up a little bit. Now, the country is not built by people who think they have already reached. If our forefathers thought they had already reached, then the country would not be having the country Uganda today. However, because they consistently and constantly kept moving and kept doing what they had to do, knowing that the work they do would never get finished, it would only be carried forward to the next generation, they have done to where we see today, and we also ought to take it up. I also want to raise my concern for a few young people that have now gotten themselves in posh positions, or have gotten themselves in public service, or for some reason command some certain amount of resources in the society. We have seen this characteristic arrogance, we have seen intolerance, we have seen corruption, we have seen of the same young people, we have also seen their desire to shrink the public space for accountability. And over time, we have seen them go overboard and even do things that we as a country, we are asking, are we the same country as citizens of this country? Now, as you look at those things, we also need to make sure that we hold the younger people that are coming on accountable. Our country is in a dire state, and it needs the effort of all young people to put hands on deck. I have continuously engaged with many youth across the country, from Eastern down to Western, all through to Central and to the Northern. And at some point, I've had an opportunity to visit the other neighboring countries and also maybe countries outside. The contributions we are giving as a country and the impression we are giving is, we are still a little bit sleeping, and we ought to wake up. As we are thinking about how to consolidate our small wins on election, and how to continue to propagate corruption all through the system. Youth of our age bracket, of our time, are working on making sure that we have electrical vehicles, hybrid vehicles, AI system, artificial intelligence systems. We have the youth going to space. We have the ladies who are now coming in and venturing into very complex spaces like the engineering space, which is usually dominated by the male. And that is the contribution that many youth are now looking into and taking charge. So as a fellow young person, I would like to bring this to your attention. It is our time, but we must use our time equitably and responsibly. There is a life to live, there is a country to live for, and there is a family to take care of, and there is a community to build. A country cannot grow if we sleep. A country grows when we increase our level of creativity, when we maximize our oil and energy department, and when we maximize our physics department and make sure that we have nuclear plants, we have our NASA space operating in the SpaceX, and as a country we also have to open our satellite space. We have only a few players in. We need to have this, and we need the right manpower to be able to take up this responsibility. We also have the aeronautical space, the transport, especially aeronautical, and then the railways. All this deserve and needs competent people to be able to fill in. However, this cannot all come true. The country we want cannot come true if we sit and think we are comfortable with the status quo. We must have the desire to change. We must have the desire to yearn for something that is stronger than what we can see. And we must fight to get the things that we deserve or we deserve to have. This is not where we want this country to be, and therefore it is a wake-up call to all of us that we must wake up with strength. We must put in and give this country all that we can. In the little space you are in a community setup, in a church setup, in a school setup, in whatever space you find yourself, it is our time, and let us use our time valuably and well. May we look into the future and give this country a rebrand. May we give this country a new name. May we give this country a new generation of hardworking Ugandans who can be able to build it. May we give this country and this continent pride, where the continent will continue to pursue economic self-reliance. I want to encourage you all to continue doing the little things you're doing in your own spaces, but let us remember that the responsibility to build our country absolutely lies in our hands. And this is our time. Thank you.